that Jessica Mulroney tell-all book on what really went down between her and Meghan Markle finally coming. I'm told there is a bidding war between publishers, but Jessica hasn't made her mind up yet. Certainly, though, the fact that her ex-husband, Ben Mulroney, is now trying to say, oh, everything's fine. There's no issue between Meghan and Jessica. They just haven't been seen together for the past 5 years, is fooling no one. Watch this.
It's Jess's story to tell.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't speak for her.
Yeah.
So if she wants to ever talk about it, but from what I understand, they're on positive terms.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, sure they are. Sure they are. Just like you and her are on positive terms, right, Ben? So look, we're going to be getting into all of this today, plus all of the latest royal news with Rob Shooter. Now, this is so exciting for me, Rob, because I talk about you all the time on the show. I constantly quote from the brilliant Shooter Scoop on Substack, which I always recommend everyone should subscribe to. Rob is, of course, a former royal courtier himself, but also one of the big purveyors of royal news and entertainment news from across the Atlantic. So, Rob, I can't wait to have you here today. We're going to get into so much. But first, I just want to take you through this new reporting from Tom Sykes on the Jessica Mulroney story. And then I can't wait to hear what you are being told. But Tom Sykes on the Royalist is saying the cancelling of Jessica Mulroney could yet bite Meghan. And he said, it has always seemed to me such classic Meghan. She had quickly made a powerful friend in her new town of Toronto. Jessica was married to Ben Mulroney, who we just saw, son of a former Canadian PM, but then dumped her as quick as she did Piers Morgan or her dad at the first sign of trouble. Mulroney's carefully limited comment comes against the backdrop of Meghan's well-documented tendency to cut people off when relationships become messy, awkward, or no longer useful. Jessica Mulroney was once at the centre of Meghan's inner circle. The two women met in Toronto while Meghan was filming the legal drama Suits. Jessica, a stylist and television personality, helped keep Meghan and Harry's early date secret, advised on Meghan's wardrobe and reputation, and became known as one of her closest confidants. Their closeness was visible at the 2018 royal wedding. Jessica attended with Ben while their twin sons, John and Brian, carried the train of Meghan's gown at St. George's Chapel, Windsor. Their daughter Ivy was a bridesmaid alongside Princess Charlotte. Meghan frequently praised Jessica before her marriage. And in 2022, in her Netflix series, she shared footage of the night Harry proposed, showing her walking in the grounds of Kensington Palace and FaceTiming Jess to share the news. So they were as close as could possibly be. That was until 2020. In the BLM hysteria, let me just be honest about it, when Toronto influencer Sasha Exeter accused Jessica of, quote, textbook white privilege, following an online exchange about the BLM movement. Exeter said Jessica had sent messages that Exeter felt threatened her livelihood. Jessica apologised publicly, calling the experience deeply educational, but the damage was done. She lost commercial deals, was dropped by Good Morning America, and her Canadian reality show I Do Redo was cancelled. Jessica initially pushed back against talk of a rift. In September 2020, she posted on Instagram, I'm going to tell this once and for all, Meghan and I are family. She is the kindest friend and has checked up on me every day. About 6 months later, she shared a photograph of flowers she said were from Meghan for her 31st birthday, captioned, luckiest friend. Thanks, MM. But after that, public signs of warmth faded. In 2021, the tone of Jessica's social media shifted noticeably and fueled speculation that something had broken down privately. In June that year, she posted a quote to Instagram stories, life changes, you lose love, you lose friends, you lose pieces of yourself that you never imagined would be gone. Given how publicly intertwined her life had been with Meghan's, it was widely seen as a reference to the collapse of a close friendship. 2 months later, she shared another message about isolation and abandonment. It can be lonely having the world, friends, distance from you and not even ask how you are. But thankfully, you find the things that truly matter. And in 2022, Jessica posted, you are not too sensitive. You are not overreacting. If it hurts you, it hurts you. Then things got worse. Because last year, in July, Ben and Jessica separated after 16 years of marriage. So while Jessica has stayed publicly silent, behind the scenes, there is intense interest in her side of the story. Publishing sources say she is seen as the one figure who could give a detailed insider account of Meghan's pre-royal life and the years surrounding the wedding and Megxit. One industry source told The Mirror Jessica's explosive story is the one publishers want to get their hands on. She could command up to a seven-figure dollar sum, depending on what she is prepared to say. There's huge interest in Jessica's perspective and her time in the royal spotlight when friends with Meghan. People would rush to buy Jessica's book and to know what really happened between them. Hers is the real story royal watchers want to read and are asking for. The two women have not been seen together for around 5 years, and Jessica was absent from Meghan's recent With Love Meghan project, despite other members of her social circle taking. Shooter, look, I have actually been covering the whole Jessica Mulroney, Meghan Markle thing for years, right? And even at the start, Meghan had cut her off dead. Like, sure, she sent the flowers, she sent the bunch of flowers, but there was never going to be a public appearance. There was never going to be a phone call because all of a sudden Jessica Mulroney risked damaging Meghan's brand. So Jessica's now single. She's not with her husband. Okay, she hasn't spoken before. Personally, I think she should write the book now because the friendship is never recovering. But what are you hearing, Rob?
Hey, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. I'm a big fan of your work. I've covered you. I've read you for many, many years. So thank you for having me. This is a wild story.
So good to have you in the flesh. And yes, it is wild. It is wild.
It's a wild, wild story. Meghan has loyalty on one side. It's loyalty to her. She is not loyal to anybody else. And anyone that has been in her inner circle, anybody that has spent time with her, will tell you that. And I think Jess thought she was the one exception to that rule. You always do, don't you? When you've got an awful friend, an awful partner, you believe, oh, it'll never happen to me, even though you see it happening to everybody else. Well, it finally happened to Jess. And now Jess, who has kept this really under wraps for years, is in a really powerful position because she has not said a word, because she's never really done a major interview. She's now got the story that we all want. There's been no leaks. She hasn't given it away for free like Harry and Meghan did on the Oprah Winfrey Show. No, she's got the story. You're absolutely right. I spoke to several publishers here in New York, including my own publisher of my novel that's coming out later this year. I spoke to them and they said that this book could get about $1 million advance if, and this is the key here, Dan, if she tells the story.
Gosh, it must be tempting. Do it! Come on, it's like there are a couple of people in Meghan Markle's life who know so much. Jessica Mulroney is one, Trevor Engelson, her first husband, is the other, and we so desperately want to hear from them. By the way, I will tell you right now, Rob's novel that he referred to it started with a whisper. Is that right? And it's available to order right now. So there's something you have to do. I'm really looking forward to it. But Rob, look, it's so perfect you're on today because earlier in the week, I was talking about the fact that you were the first person to actually report what the Kardashians have now confirmed, right? Yeah. Which is that Meghan was a party crasher. You said everyone was looking around on the night saying, what the hell is she doing here? And of course, now Kim and Khloe are also making it clear, actually, she's not our friend. So how damning is this public rebuke now from the Kardashians
really bad.
To Meghan?
It's really bad. When you upset a Kardashian, when a Kardashian has the upper moral hand in an argument, you're probably not winning that argument. So she turned up at Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party. A lot of people were confused why they were there. And then lots of photographs were taken. There was no NDAs. This is a party at Jeff Bezos's $70 million house. If you've ever been to one of these big celebrity parties at someone's home, it's not the Oscars, it's not the Emmys. This is a private house. Just to get up that driveway, you need to be approved. So everybody there was a big, big deal. Meghan turned up and wasn't the biggest deal in the room, caused a little bit of a stink, wanted some photographs removed, which the Kardashians did. And then, this is the kicker, they blamed the Kardashians for all this. Well, now, Chloe and Kim are not going to have that anymore. They told the truth, which is they did nothing wrong. They posted pictures. Meghan and Harry realized maybe partying in Hollywood with Kardashians on Remembrance Day is probably not the best idea. And then they blamed the Kardashians. Kim's tough. It takes her a while to bite, but she always sets the record straight eventually. And so now we know again that it's just another mess that the Sussexes have got themselves into. But I think what's really going to bite them here is they can't be trusted at all now, not even by A-listers. I think the public knew this a while ago, but they still were getting invited to these really big parties, these big events. They're not anymore. They're not going to be at the Grammys. They're not going to be at the Oscars. They're not going to be at private parties, because when anything goes wrong, whenever there's a little bit of a conversation to have, these two lash out and blame.
Wow. And I did note earlier in the week, Paula Frolic and Tom Sykes were also reporting that she won't get that Met Gala invite either. Are you hearing the same thing?
Yeah, it's really troublesome here. The Met Gala, the biggest ball of the year now, it has overtaken the Oscars, I would say. It really is the Oscars of fashion. It's Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief's Vogue ball. You know her as Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada, from that novel. She's like that. I used to work for her for a little bit, and she's quite scary. But she used to run this ball with an iron fist. However, now the ball seems to have been taken over by Jeff Bezos and Lawrence Sanchez. They are sponsoring the ball. They're going to have a much more impactful idea about the guest list here. And so will Meghan and Harry go? Probably not, although we can't blame Anna Wintour just for that. We also too have to blame here Jeff Bezos, who has turned on her too. If you go to Jeff Bezos's house and you cause trouble, you ain't going to be invited to his ball. It's that easy.
100%. And it was so stupid of Meghan because, of course, she's totally out of favor with lots of the big tech giants now. Spotify never wants anything to do with her. Netflix is sort of like, oh, God, please, no, don't offer us anything more. Whereas Amazon did provide some hope because, of course, she had done that cameo. Oh, who's that, Rob?
Oh,
who's
hello,
that?
Darby. He likes your show too.
Darby, how amazing, how beautiful. Well, look, you and Darby can watch what Kim Kardashian and Khloe Kardashian had to say on Khloe's new podcast, Khloe in Wonderland, because I just want people to listen out for Kim's proposal to Meghan Markle, because I thought it was a great idea, Rob. I'm fascinated to know what you thought. This proposal that Kim actually offered Meghan as a way to deal with the PR disaster. Watch this.
Right out the gate, this is the kind of tease that makes people stop scrolling, a secret being held for years, and a 7-figure incentive to finally talk. And the subtext is brutal. If Jessica Mulroney speaks, Meghan can't control the narrative. That's the real fear, not gossip, but someone who was inside the room deciding to cash in. And then the Jeff Bezos angle. That's the Hollywood powerboard message. You don't get to cause drama in a billionaire's house and still expect a seat at the next table. Ben's clip is textbook damage control. It's Jess's story, positive terms, I wouldn't speak for her. Translation. Please don't ask me again. But the irony writes itself, his acting like the public is stupid enough to believe nothing happened, when the entire point is, they haven't been seen together for 5 years. This is where viewers lean forward because it's not even about Meghan anymore, it's about the awkward silence that screams louder than any statement. This segment is designed to plant the theme, relationships as transactions. The framing is savage, made a powerful friend, then dumped her. And whether people agree or not, the narrative works because it taps into what audiences already suspect: quick bonds, quick cutoffs. Then you get the emotional weapon, wedding imagery, kids in the ceremony, bridesmaid link to Princess Charlotte, FaceTime footage later on Netflix. That's important because it's not they were friendly. It's they were fused, and then they weren't. That contrast is what makes tell-all chatter feel inevitable. This is where it flips from social drama to reputational survival. Jessica gets accused, she apologizes, she loses deals, she gets dropped, and Meghan does the thing that causes the speculation. Public support just long enough to look decent, then total silence. And the subtle detail the audience remembers is this: flowers, captions, posts, but no public appearance. Because flowers are cheap. Standing beside someone when it's unpopular costs more. That's the controversy, and viewers will feel it instantly. These Instagram quote posts are basically the modern version of I'm not naming names, but I'm naming names. Life changes. You lose friends. It can be lonely when friends distance from you. You're not overreacting if it hurts. That's the public breadcrumb trail. I got left behind. And the audience will connect the dots, because the timeline matches the freeze out. Then the separation after 16 years gets dropped and the story sharpens. She's single, she's reset, she's got nothing to lose, and now publishers are sniffing around because she might be the only person who can narrate the before royalty chapter in detail. This is the clear thesis moment. Jessica became brand toxic, so she became disposable. And you can hammer this point. Meghan's camp survives on curated optics. Anything that threatens the image gets deleted, distanced, or rebranded. Then you set up the do-it pressure. If the friendship is dead, why protect it? If the public already believes the fallout happened, why stay silent? This is where your audience starts commenting with she should write the book without you even asking. Rob's intro instantly upgrades the story because it gives authority. Former courtier, insider sources, New York publishing chatter. Then he drops the key. Jessica kept quiet, so she hasn't spent the value of her story. Unlike others who leaked everything for free, Jessica's silence becomes leverage.
Mom and Meghan have been friends for some years now, and they have a really sweet relationship. We took a photo, and then I think we were all going through them. We're all, communicating about like what we're going to post. We're never ones to post without permission. We are like, it's not who we are.
We're very respectful.
Yeah, like we have the craziest, funnest photos from that night, but we were posting just like fun photos. And so
dignified photos.
We were totally, we were told that it was totally cool to post. And then after it was posted, I think they realized it was Remembrance Day and they didn't want to be seen at a party, even though it's already up.
Mm-hmm.
And then taken down. And then I think they realized like, oh, this was so silly.
And they did baby to baby right before.
Well,
they
it's
did
like a charity
carpet
event. So like that was fine, but maybe not partying and dancing on the dance floor and whatever. So we took them down
because we're
to
respectful.
Respect Remembrance Day.
Yes.
And then you just got to laugh at like the situation sometimes and just like lighten it up and be, if everyone's taking it the wrong way, like lean in.
This
I was
is her
like,
idea,
we should do a full Skims campaign. Take the photo, even just us, like I'll shoot you at mom, post it and then delete it like 30 minutes later. And then I say, oh, sorry, I didn't have permission to post those photos for the campaign.
You should do that.
That's what I was like, that would have hit so funny.
You should do, yes.
If we just made it light and made it funny. I think it would have been like received differently. But I hated how that was received for everyone. That sucks.
Well, it was made into something.
It was just made into something that was so crazy and ridiculous that just didn't have to be.
And notice, by the way, they're not blaming the media there. They're not saying, oh, it was made into something by the media. They're talking about it was made into something by Meghan and by Harry. But Rob, seriously, how stupid is Meghan Markle? That would have been a moment that I don't even think you or I could necessarily criticize because actually it would have been a big win for her.
Hey, if Meghan's watching, I suspect she might sometimes. Hello. Next time your PR director quits, which I think you're on your 11th, so it probably will be soon, hire Kim Kardashian. Kim should head up Meghan Markle and Harry's PR. It's the only chance they have of coming back. She probably wouldn't listen though. But I think Kim hits some really fun points here. One is you can have a joke about yourself. You don't always have to be that serious. And that's where Meghan and Harry always fail. They never seem to be enjoying themselves. They never seem to be giving us a wink or having a joke. Life's great. They live in an amazing home in California. They never need to worry about money. People would absolutely kill to have their lives, and somehow they're still miserable. So I think the Kardashians are really smart here. Lean into the joy of this. And I do like too that there are pictures from the party, if you heard Chloe, that are not respectful pictures, that are naughty pictures. Those are the pictures that I want to see.
Oh, big
they
time.
haven't posted those.
Big
I
time,
want to see those pictures.
I imagine Harry was doing a lot more than just ogling Kris Jenner's ample bosom, as you could see in that picture. But look, I actually agree with what Kim and Chloe were saying there, though, Rob, because they are respectful. For example, no pictures were released from the party of Beyonce and Jay-Z. Now, Beyonce and Jay-Z arrived through the back entrance. The suggestion seems to be that at the moment, because, you know, there's been the whole P. Diddy case and everything, they just want to keep a bit low key. So the point is, they could have done that. Harry and Meghan could have done that. Instead, they invent this cock and bull story about consent forms that never existed. They lie to their own PR who quit. I mean, just total disaster. And actually, I think in this case, the Kardashians, even though at times they can be, especially for us Brits, Rob, you know, they can be a little bit gauche. In this case, I respect the honesty because we never get honesty from Harry and Meghan. That is one of the biggest problems with them.
Yeah, I'm a Brit too. You can tell by my dodgy accent from Birmingham, but I've lived in America now for 30 years. But look at our president. Americans love a little bit of gauche. We love a little bit of a gold trim. And so the Kardashians here, it's hard to explain this to my British friends. They're quite respected. Like, they are thought of as really hardworking. They have figured this out. They're the first to admit with very little talent. They've become very, very famous. And I think Meghan could do a lot learning from them instead of trying to learn from Oprah or Julia Roberts or Gwyneth Paltrow. You know, you're a reality star, Meghan. And if you sort of lent into that, I think a lot of these troubles would go away. But I think Kim's really onto something here. And I think to upset Kim in Jeff Bezos' house. They were in his house. To upset these two people, it's so dumb. It's so
dumb. And the thing is, Rob, what's so interesting, why I love your reporting so much, is because you combine both of these worlds. You know, you obviously are a Brit, but you have this real American sensibility. But I think what a lot of people don't know, though I often remind people, is, of course, the reason you have such great royal sources, because at one point, you crossed to the other side. You know, you were a courtier. So you know how this works, right? Just explain how that all happened, because your story is so fascinating.
It's delicious. So after university, I met an American. I met him in Edinburgh. I went to the University of Edinburgh. Thank you very much. I failed Oxford and Cambridge. I still hold a grudge, but I went to Edinburgh. And then after university, during university, I met this very handsome American. And after I graduated, I came here to live in America. And I didn't have any skills. I'd just left university. I had no hands-on experience. So I got a job as a receptionist in a PR company. And I slowly worked my way up the ladder. So I started answering phones. Remember, before we had cell phones, Julia Roberts and celebrities would have to actually call their publicists on a landline. A fool like me would answer, and I chitter-chatted to them. And so I worked my way up to being the publicist for J-Lo, for Alicia Keys, John Bon Jovi, Naomi Campbell, also Diddy, which I try not to talk about too much, and Princess Michael of Kent.
Yes, and she was, of course, your entry into the world of the royals.
It was delicious. Honestly, Dan, I was so lucky. Like, journalist friends of mine, there's a lot better reporters than me, but what I've got that they don't have is I've been in those rooms. I have sat in those hotel rooms, in those houses. I've been on those private planes. I know how these people think. And so Princess Michael of Kent, she was really, really a central part of that family for a while. She was always in the background, but she saw everything. She heard everything. She introduced me to some incredible people, mainly behind the scenes. And so it gave me an insight into the royals that I thought I'd left when I'd left Britain. And then I found myself becoming this incredible royal reporter. And it was really that sort of connection, that access, that my job on the other side as a PR guy taught me. And so I'm so grateful for it. There are a lot of really great reporters out there. What I have that they don't is that I used to sit on the other side.
Exactly. And that's why I love your royal reporting, because you know how they work. How upsetting was it for you, Rob, when you saw Meghan Markle attempt to get Princess Michael of Kent, cancelled?
Yeah, she did.
Over the fact that she wore a brooch. And in some ways, I hate to say this, she was sort of successful because it was at the time when Meghan was still at the height of her powers.
No, Meghan won this. Meghan absolutely won. Long before that incident, I'd met Meghan many times in New York. She often met reporters. She liked reporters. When she was on Suits, she would text people. She would want publicity. We were always invited to her events. A co-host of my podcast, worked at the Wendy Williams show, which, let's be honest here, I love Wendy, but if you don't know who that is, she's a real gossipy goose, like a real funny, naughty show. This is not a fancy panorama, big British TV, BBC type show. It's a real fun show. Meghan turned up at that office unannounced, rang the doorbell, went up to the 6th floor and begged them to make her their fashion correspondent. I tell you this story because it's such an insight into who Meghan is. If she wants something, she goes and she gets it. And I think that's something, maybe one of her good qualities. However, she doesn't have the same respect for anybody else. And so she wants us all to help her career, and she has been helped an enormous amount by people that she has dumped, going back to her Jessica story that we leaded with today. But she expects total loyalty and she expects total help. And so to see her use her power when she just first had this baton of power, the royals had handed it her. She was still very much in the inner circle. They were all still walking on eggshells. I don't think yet any of them had figured out how to handle her. Let's remember King Charles walked her down the aisle at her wedding. So this came a lot later. It did not happen right away. Where we are now is not where this began.
No.
This is a tragedy of her own doing. Look at that picture. I mean, look at them. They really did try to open her in as much as they could. Not the warmest, not the most friendly family, but they really, really did try. And she bit them. She bit the hand
100%. And then she was at this event with Princess Michael of Kent, who you had previously been the courtier for, where Princess Michael of Kent wore a piece of jewelry. And Meghan Markle had it be known that for her, this was racially insensitive. And I just thought it was awful. It was just awful what she did. She effectively tried to get Princess Michael of Kent, who has a long respected career, cancelled as a racist. And we know this is something she then tried to do with the wider royal family.
Yeah. This was her starting point. This was where she learnt this skill. She always, and this is a very cunning, very clever mark of Meghan, she goes for the lowest hanging fruit first. She doesn't hit for the top. She goes slowly. She learns her craft. She learns how to do this. And so to go after somebody like Princess Michael of Kent was an easy target. That's somebody that the royals would abandon for Meghan. But what they did here is they rewarded her bad behavior. And if you reward bad behavior, you do it again. And eventually Meghan used the same bag of tricks, the same arguments on senior members of the royal family. It works for her. It worked with her with Princess Michael of Kent. I'm not sure it worked with the rest of the family, but once again, it's almost a bit bullying, isn't it? She didn't attack Queen Elizabeth. She went after Princess Michael of Kent.
Exactly. This older woman, you know. But look, do stand by, because actually a couple of big new exclusives. Firstly, you have been revealing what's really going on with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And indeed, your reporting has now actually, I mean, of course, they didn't credit you because the mainstream media never did, but it's now been confirmed by the Times of London overnight. So I want to get into that. But Prince Harry and Meghan Markle first have had their most brutal fight yet.
And then the most viral line, $1 million advance, if she tells the story. That is your clip moment. This section is lethal because it connects two patterns. Showing up where you're not wanted, and controlling optics with pressure plus blame. Rob's framing is simple and devastating. Private Bezos party not equal to public awards show. If you got up that driveway, you were approved. So the we didn't consent storyline becomes messy. Then comes the reputational nuke. If A-listers now think you're risky, you stop getting invited. This is Hollywood law. You don't get blacklisted for one incident, you get blacklisted for being a liability. This is pure power politics. The Met Gala isn't just fashion, it's hierarchy. And the transcript frames it like this: Bezos plus Lauren Sanchez influenced the list, Meghan has reportedly fallen out of favor, therefore she's out. Your commentary here should lean into the symbolism. The Met Gala is the ultimate we accept you signal. Not getting invited isn't just a snub, it's a message. This is where the Kardashians do what they do best. They bury you with politeness. They don't scream. They don't rant. They calmly say, "We discussed the photos. We had permission. They later regretted timing, Remembrance Day. We took them down. And we should have laughed it off. And the killer detail, they didn't blame the media. They implied the chaos came from Harry and Meghan's handling. This is where you add a sharp line. If you can't tell the truth about something this small, why should anyone trust the big claims? That's the controversy engine. Rob nails the core. They never look like they're enjoying the life they begged for. And that's why the public turns on them, because they sell themselves as victims even while living a life most people can't imagine. You can also punch this. Kim offered a PR escape hatch, lean into it, make it funny, move on. Meghan didn't take it because control matters more than connection. Then the transcript's naughty pictures tease is perfect to keep viewers watching. What's still unreleased? This part builds why he's dangerous to them. He understands how PR spin gets built, because he used to do it. So when he calls Meghan's tactics craft, low-hanging fruit, and rewarded bad behavior, it reframes the entire saga as strategy, not accident. This is where you insert your big line. Meghan didn't just stumble into controversy became the tool. This segment is very controversial, so stay tight in language. As reported. As alleged. The claim at the time, etc. Your angle is, Meghan learned that accusations, even implied ones, can force institutions to scramble. If the palace rewards the behavior, by distancing from the target, it teaches the attacker the tactic works. Then bring it home. People think the big accusations came later. But the transcript suggests the playbook was tested earlier on a safer target. That's the segment that will light the comments up. If Jessica Mulroney really is sitting on $1 million story, the only question is simple. Does she tell it, or does she keep protecting someone who cut her off? So I want to hear from you. Should Jessica write the book, yes or no? And if she does, what do you think she reveals first? The Toronto years, the early Harry days, or what really happened behind the scenes after the fallout? Drop your prediction in the comments. If you want the next breakdown the moment it drops, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and share this video with someone who's been following this saga from day one.